What's gone on down in Georgia is an absolute clown show. Here is just a drop of that, okay, just to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, is they're charging Trump under RICO laws, which were, of course, designed for the mob. It's a 100-page indictment. The number of counts, it's like, it's staggering, okay, what's going on here. And understand, none of this, okay, is applicable to mob law. None of this is applicable to any type of truth in terms of what went on in Georgia. This is absolutely a situation where the process is the punishment, similar to the way the Mueller probe hung over Trump's head and made it harder for him to govern in the first 3 years of his presidency. Okay, these 4 indictments are basically there not to find Trump guilty, but to make it very difficult for him to run.
He knows what he's talking about.
Okay, this one is bananas. Okay, I'm going to let Jonathan Turley kind of spell it out, because the big takeaway is they want Trump for what? Oh, he's challenging the results of an election. You can't do that. That's what Jonathan Turley is reacting to. It's clip 4.
The indictment is, as we expected, founded on this broad racketeering claim. You've got 18 individuals who are charged. Willis seems to have charged everything and everyone, and is allowing God to sort them out. You look at this indictment, and every call, every tweet, every speech seems to be a separate criminal act that composes this conspiracy. That raises really troubling questions as to the criminalization of the challenges to elections.
And that's the big problem here, okay, is you're criminalizing the challenging of an election. But you're doing so in a very hyper-contextualized way, because you're aiming it squarely at a Republican president. Although I can be the first to tell you, not that this would be news, he's not the first person to say an election was not legitimate.
I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows that there were a bunch of different reasons why the election turned out the way it did. And I take responsibility for those parts of it that I should. But, Jane, it was like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado.
Don't you have any respect for yourself?
So that's one, Hillary, but let me give you another one.
I think it's also critical to understand that, as I've been telling candidates who have come to see me, you can run the best campaign, you can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
You're an idiot!
I mean, really, though. Okay. Was there any criminal act? Did anybody go get Adam Schiff for going on TV every night and telling us there was definitive proof of Russian collusion?
The answer would be no.
How about John Brennan?
The answer would be no.
James Clapper?
The answer would be no.
No, the point is, if you're a Democrat, you can challenge the legitimacy of an election to the moon and back. Nothing's going to happen to you.
I'm Hillary Clinton, and I approve this message.
And that's why this looks like such a scam to objective observers. Trump isn't getting indicted for anything that he couldn't have been indicted for a year ago or the year before that. This stuff happened in the winter of 2020. Okay, we're now going into the fall of 2023. The fact that we're at the tip-off of the presidential election and the guy happens to be up by 40 points makes the timing of this little suspicious, ladies and gentlemen.
I think he's got a point.
Okay, and Jonathan Turley goes a little bit further on that really quickly, clip 5.
The problem is not that, the RICO statutes were designed for the mob, but they have been used far beyond the mob. The problem is how they're being used in this context. This is an election challenge in a state that had a razor-thin margin. Roughly 11,000 votes is really nothing in a state of this size. And so during those days following the presidential election, the Trump campaign was alleging that machines were manipulated, that there were all types of wrongdoing. They lost those claims. But the question is it a crime to raise them?
Is it a crime to raise suspicions about an election?
Not even close.
I don't see how it could be when you have the other political party legit straight telling you it was stolen by a foreign leader. But again, these indictments are not being brought because they need to find Trump guilty. Do you dig? It's like the Mueller probe. The process is the punishment. If you can convict him in the court of public opinion, you don't ever need a real conviction.
Bingo.
But listen to Rachel Maddow talking about the dangers of wounding us as a democracy. Clip 11.
The system of democracy at its heart is the idea that the people get to decide how we are governed. And if we no longer believe that our will is effectuated through the system, if bad actors tell us falsely that every election is stolen and that the only way an election is trustworthy is if they come out on top of it, then something it tells you something not just about that person or that moment. It maybe wounds us as a democracy in a way that is hard to repair.
Straight clown. Straight clown. Okay, she spent 3 years telling you an election was stolen. And now she's on TV lecturing you about doing so and how it would endanger our democracy.
What a fraud.
But never mind that she's doing so while sitting across from the biggest election denier in the history of the country. Okay, and Hillary likes to make a point to say, well, she conceded, though. It wasn't the same thing. Here it is.
Was I happy when I beat Donald Trump by nearly 3 million votes but lost the Electoral College? No, I was not happy. Did I even for a nanosecond think I'm going to claim victory and try to get the Democrats to refuse to certify the election? No.
Oh, Hillary Clinton. I mean, come on.
Oh, shut up, woman.
Okay, the idea that, well, Trump, he took it a little further. He was asking the questions. You were on TV in the run-up. When you want to talk about undermining faith in the democracy, in the run-up to the election, she started the narrative that Russia was interfering on Trump's behalf. And you understand that narrative began with a member of her campaign. This is my favorite story in the world. Okay, a member of her campaign going to the FBI with a document from her campaign saying, I'm not giving you this document as a member of the Clinton campaign. I'm giving it to you as a concerned citizen.
Sell crazy someplace else. We're all stocked up here.
Now, listen, this document, it's not me working for the Clinton campaign. I'm just here as a concerned citizen, you see. Straight up. Okay, and they started the Russian collusion. They started it themselves. In the run-up to the election, we're being interfered with. They had a collusion party at Clinton headquarters. Okay, but then election night came, and all of those efforts to undermine Trump's support collapsed, and so did the collusion party. Yes, exactly. She was throwing wine bottles at her staffers and howling at the moon on the balcony of the Peninsula Hotel. But you understand, nobody has worked harder to undermine faith in the democracy than the Democrats. Now, you understand, down in Georgia, up in D.C., over in Manhattan, all the jurisdictions where Trump has been indicted, okay? They're not ringing him up because he did anything unprecedented. They're not ringing him up because he endangered our democracy, okay? They're ringing him up because he's on a course to walk away with the 2024 election, and that's the last thing on earth any of them can deal with.